Oh,
How do you come up with this stuff?
Oh,
My goodness.
oh, we're live. Oh, okay.
Oh, shoot. All right. Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Hey, everybody.
We didn't have an intro. Hey.
Oh, who needs an intro?
Yeah. Oh, how's it going?
Hey.
Well, I see one person in the chat.
Derek. He's looking for a show.
You haven't seen a show.
It's not here, Derek. Definitely not here.
Bill's here.
Retro Bliss Gaming, Kelly Huff, Mike's Gaming Gala. Hey, there's some people. We got some real human beings.
Yeah, we got a good group already. They were all waiting for us to start because usually there's people. Oh, look at here. We even have people across the pond. Gideon's over there
Nice.
Yeah.
in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, that's something when you get a guy that's over there. He's over there by Lars over there in Zen Studios. And where is that? Where is that place? Where is Zen Studios? Is that Belgium? Where is it?
I think that's what I was going to say, but I'm not for sure. But since we're both thinking that, we'll just run with it.
Yeah. It's not true. It is. That boy's gaming and no nonsense. Oh, welcome.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Been a long week here. I'm glad it's my Friday.
Anybody throughout the week saw me on Retro Bliss's channel. I had a good time, so I think he's here in the audience. So want to thank him and Mike's Gaming Gala, who were both there. Had a real good time. It's fun doing that show with them. Matter of fact, they asked me to come on full time, and I said, "Hey, you sweeten the pot a little bit. I'll dump these guys in a hot heartbreak."
Oh, that's funny. It's funny. Yeah. It's good shoe. Good shoe. Yeah, real good show. Yeah.
Real good show tonight. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Damn good show. Yeah. Those guys crack me up. Those guys crack me up.
That's great. Yeah, I love watching them.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Yeah. Even if they, because they'll dabble into the political side, but even if you disagree with what they're saying, they're funny as hell. So it's like,
Yell at each other.
oh yeah, can't touch your mic.
Did you see what they're giving away?
Oh yeah, they got a General Lee going on now.
Yeah.
Drive around town with a General Lee, and they hit the horn. And it goes, and they both start giggling.
Well, it's funny.
Yeah, that's they gave away a truck before too. So.
Yeah, and they got that truck with a camper going on, and then they're giving away the General Lee. But we talk, and Greg, you do a great job putting those intros and outros together. But they got the classic, just mid sentence, slams his hand on the desk. Show's over. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and start this off because like we said, we don't sit backstage and talk. We just all just show up and we start. But the competition is down to 2 people. 2 people on the pinball tournament. I set it up this afternoon. If you're one of those 2 people, I will send you something in Discord. Well, I'll tell you who it is. It's DKong52 and Classic Rock King. So I wanted to get this out first so they wouldn't have to watch the whole video if they wanted to find out any information. But I do believe I've seen both you guys on Discord, so I will be sending out that code and password to you right after the show. And you can go, it started a little bit ago, 5 days. It runs for 5 days. And the only reason I did that is you got 5 days to get your one shot, one ball, one try. And the game is Sky Pirates.
So nice. Yeah. That one can go either way too. You can have a insta drain, or you can play one ball for a good bit. So you never know what will happen with one ball on that thing. And I will say this. Now, Greg and I we don't participate other than beginning the starting the things, but I went ahead and shot a video on that last one, the Pinball Noir. And at the time when I shot that video, I had a pretty good game. And if you looked at the scores, I was destroying. But D Kong and Classic Rock King wiped the floor with my ass when they threw their scores out there. But, my score didn't count anyway. But my goodness, my score looked like pro score when Classic Rock King played. It was pretty impressive. Both of those guys had a really good ball. That was a good, well earned. But
actually, I've got a video kicking it off. If you want, it doesn't last that long. I'll just show it real quick, and you'll see how. Well, it was going longer than I wanted. I kept thinking, I hope I drain. Then the drain, I realized, well, I didn't have that good a score anyway.
This is the PG show, Bliss.
that was 13. That one.
Well, you want me to run it?
Run it. Roll it.
Okay, everybody, here we go. This is the final week for the summer 2024 FX Pinball Tournament by the show. It looks like Classic Rock King and D Kong 52 are our two finalists. And this is going to be the table they're going to play. One ball, one try. And they've got 5 days to practice up and then gotta get in before it's over. It's only set up one tournament by me. And I am going to get that code and that information to those two players through Discord. It's not going to be the standard password, and I'll have to get the code for it and the password, and I will use Discord or however I can get a hold of that to you, but it's going to be sent via private messages. So let's take a look at me trying to do one ball, one try at Sky Pirates. It's not really set up that way, but that's all I'm going to do is one ball.
Where did you learn to aim? Arr.
If you get a ball saved, that's okay. And I will get that information to our two finalists out. Next week, we will announce the winner.
I can't believe
Ball out 300 bonuses.
the wind is picking up.
362,267.
What is
So that's
that?
how I did on ball
Can I
one.
hit that?
We'll see how these guys do. Anyway, let's get back to the show.
Nice.
There you
Nice. That's a fun table. That is a fun table for sure.
I like the
Never
call
played
outs.
it before.
I like the call outs in it. That's one of the things that appeals to me on some of the games. I mean, of course, gameplay is important, but when you get one that's got good call outs in it, I think Snoopy's Pinball's got great call outs in it too.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It'll be good. Now you set up the tournament one ball, right? One ball, one try.
Yep. Yep.
Excellent.
All
And,
those,
what I was going to say is, unless you wanted to talk more about that particular thing, because I don't think Classic Rock or D-Kong are here right now, but if they're watching the replay, yeah, be looking for that. Be looking for that message on Discord. I'm sure they'll find it. But I was going to say, for those of you that aren't in the finals, Poe, you threw together a side tournament.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Let me get this up here. Yeah, so it's on Funhouse. And here's the code right here. SY12. Sierra Yankee 12. Or as Greg would say, silly yokels 12. But
uno dos. Silly yokels, uno dos.
silly. But yeah, so there's this. I can't find my mouse because I'm seeing it on both screens. So yeah, and Poe posted that in Discord too. So if you're not in the big tournament, if you got bumped out but you still want to play some pinball, go ahead and play that.
Hey, you gave us the code.
Posted it up yesterday, right? So it's got like 4 days left at this point.
What's the password? I heard you give the code. Did you give the password?
No, it's Poe, right?
Yeah.
Poe.
POE.
I wasn't gonna say what the password is because I figured if they couldn't figure it out, knowing Poe did it. And, yeah.
Well, there's so many things we must know. Is it capital? Is it small? Is it medium?
Right.
Is it paper,
I mean,
Oscar, elephant? I mean, what?
Because if you look at the screen there where it says under Poe, it says Mr. Poe. He had to have his wife type that in because he can't get past the POE. And if you watch him enter his name in any of the challenges, he can barely do that.
I usually put
half
poo.
the time he's poo or pop or we don't know what he's gonna, or it's just PO because he takes too long.
Yeah, I took too long on that last game there, Mappy. My very last score I entered. I'm trying to take pictures with my middle finger perfect and everything. I'm like, oh, I forgot to put my name in. PO, and then it was done.
I promised I wouldn't tell Poe, but I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you because I like you. But Mike, he said, whenever you do that and only put PO, we got to cut your score down by 1/3 because you didn't get all 3 letters. And I said, no, Mike, I like Poe better than you do. I'm not going to do that to him. And I don't know. All Mike said was, I'm just basing it on that Greg said Poe's an asshole. And I said, well, that
You get a bonus if you put poop. I'll accept it.
Let's see. Thanks to Poe for thinking of the losers. So he's not alone. Wow, that went from, hey, a pat in the back to Poe to a stab in the back with 2 emojis in between it. Oh, the Bliss is on fire. Phil's on fire tonight.
That's the only reason I picked that game was sink them balls deep into his mouth and gag him.
Super PG-13. He's almost light R at this point.
You know, I had to tell that story. I don't know. Poe told me that story in confidence. Maybe I
was like, oh, what's coming now?
That one time in band camp, right?
I don't mind. If you don't mind me sharing, I remember the time you said you went to the doctor and you were needing to get you and your wife were trying to have your first child and you were trying to get a sperm count. I remember, right? You tell and the doctor gave you a little glass jar and told you to take it home, fill it up, and bring it back the next day. So you took it home. We went back the next day, handed the jar to the doctor, and the doctor says, this is empty. What's wrong? And he said, Doc, I tried with my left hand, I tried with my right hand, I tried with my feet. I let my wife try. She tried with her right hand, her left hand, and both hands. She tried her knees. We went over and got the lady next door. She tried with her right hand, her left hand. She tried to even use her mouth. He said, it just didn't work. He couldn't get it. The doctor says, you're telling me on this, what the heck is the deal? And you told him, he said, yeah, we just couldn't get that darn lid off.
Where's the ukulele?
I mean, for all of you that have dirty minds, what were you thinking?
Yep.
I've never tried using my mouth to open the jar before. That just doesn't fit.
It made the joke better.
I was visualizing that, Greg.
Me too, but the neighbor lady's about 97 years old. That might have been all right.
She's using her mouth. You can take her teeth out.
I didn't say
on the jar.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you what, if you want to see some of the funniest jokes you've ever seen, some stupid jokes, aside from me playing the ukulele, I joined this Chihuahua group. And they got these chihuahuas now. They just got these chihuahuas. And they put a real high pitched voice like a little kid, and they tell these jokes. I mean, it's like, they're cute little dogs that are going on about this. Like, oh my! And then I don't know. That's enough about that. Honey chihuahuas.
Yeah. So,
Kitty. Kitty.
yeah. So what else we got going on?
What?
What have you been up to this week besides starting a random pinball tournament? You found a new game on the arcade, right?
Oh yeah. Horizon. I was still thinking about the cat. Horizon, the spiritual sequel, whatever. It's Moon Patrol 2, right?
Right.
That's a pretty cool game. I like that game. Yeah, check that one out if you can. It's pretty slick, pretty challenging.
Yeah,
You can't jump in it. But
to find it on. It's on the PAX R Us, I'm guessing.
yeah,
Yeah. There used to be a time when Poe would find a cool game for the arcade and he would just send it to me and be like, "Check this out." Now he makes me look for it. He's
yeah,
like,
you got to search for
screw
it.
you! I have to find it. You got to find it too. If you notice on the Mappy game we played, Poe had a nice bezel around his that he said he found, but mine didn't have one because Poe just said, "Yeah, I found a cool bezel," and didn't say, "Here it is," and send it over to me. Because what? They're like 29 kilobytes. It takes a quarter of a second to email it to someone. But that's okay, Poe. It's okay. I'm not bitter at all. No, I just, I'm having one of those times where I feel like I'm busy, but I don't really accomplish much. So I look back at the end of the week. I'm like, how did I not have time to go find that? I didn't feel like I had the time, but I probably did. Oh wait, that's right. I was really lazy this week.
This week went by fast for me. It seemed like same thing you're saying. It seems like I did a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah.
In a long period of time.
Yeah, I had a flight sim video that I had recorded the week before, and then it posted on Monday. And then I did that submarine game just kind of as a fluke. I said, "Hey, I'm going to play it. Let's record it." I have a truck sim that I recorded on like Tuesday, and I just never got around. I just didn't feel like editing it. So I'm like, and all I do for the truck sim editing is do a fade in and fade out and adjust the volume level. And I didn't feel like doing that. So, yeah, and Kelly and I are gonna go away for about a week coming up. So I might save that and post that video while we're gone, because that'll be the only thing that goes up, because I didn't record anything for the time period that we're away. I just had one of those things. I played stuff. I just didn't record a lot, which is fun sometimes, just to sit back. But that little submarine thing, though, Kelly was telling me, I think I got over 400 views on it, so that's pretty cool.
I watched that all the way through today at the gym. It was just, I was working out. It was just a perfect one. It was I'm at the gym 45 minutes to an hour, and I got to sit there and watch that whole. It was pretty cool game. I like it.
And I'll be back in a minute here. I just got a phone call here, so I want to see what's going on.
All right. Oh yeah, Kelly said we got a new refrigerator this week, so that ate up all of Wednesday. Yeah.
Let me ask you something on that.
Phil says he wants an arcade, but it's not going to happen. And Mike's Gaming Gal, like all of us, many things that we'd like to have, but we're never going to get. That's one thing I watched was Ed did his video where he got that game's 4K pinball.
Oh, did you get that already?
He did. He got it.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah, he got the Attack from Mars skin on it. Looks amazing. He says it plays great. He did say there's a little bit of lag, but that's about as far in depth I'm going to go. Watch Ed's video. Digital Victory. He did a video on it. And then I saw a thing like the next day. I saw a thing where they're like, Games is lowering the prices on the 4K. And basically, they're taking away the ability to do on the go. And they're taking away you only get the table game. It's Attack from Mars or Addams Family, and that's the only table that comes on it. And they're only taking $150 off of it. And then they're like, well, if you want to add the on the go, that'll add $100. And you're like, so you're saving $50 if you want to be able to play VPX and FX pinball on it. You're only saving $50. I might as well spend the 50 and get the full deal and get the other free tables. It's like, so
that's what they call. I've got an At Games product, but I forgot I haven't messed with mine so on the go. That's the one. That's how Ed hooks his up to play all the other tables, VPX, and I assume he's playing FX and FX3 and all that. It allows him to hook the computer up to it. But do you have to? I wish he was here so I could ask him. And I didn't send him a link this week. Doggone it, that's my bad. I was kind of late getting this thing put together today, but a lot going on. But you still have to have that VIBS board? I wonder. You used to have a special board.
You don't have to on the 4K. I'm 99% sure on that. I'm not 100% because I'm not 100% what I had for lunch today. But I'm 99% sure you don't have to get the VIBS board. It comes pre-set up for all of that. And the big draw, and one of the reasons Ed ended up getting his, they're working on a patch thing, kind of like how they cracked the iArcades to where we can put all the main games on it. They're coming out with a deal where you're going to be able to put this thing on and put VPX tables on a jump drive, a thumb drive, and just plug it in one of the USB ports and play it using the At Game software. So you don't even have to have a computer hooked up. You can just plug in and put VPX tables on, which right alone opens thousands of games, thousands of tables that you could import. It's not ready yet. It hasn't hit the market yet, but they're working on it, and I think it's going to be live on that 4K not too long from now.
So At Games is doing this, or a third party? At Games is doing it?
I think it's just, it might be those same guys. I don't want to say for sure. It might be the same people that did the mystery encoder chip for the arcade, because they crack stuff like that and they figure out ways to. I'm not sure, because I could be confusing that with something else I read this past week, but I do know that they're making a crack, and they almost got it ready to go where you can put VPX tables on a thumb drive and just plug it right in one of the USB ports that come on the machine and play VPX. So you wouldn't even need to have a PC hooked up to it.
That would be a big plus for me because, even my home builds, each one of them's got to have a full size, a full-blown PC in there with a good graphics card and all that. Mike's building a computer now, and I know he and I were chatting back and forth about he's taking his time building his, because I went to the Micro Center and priced out. I just thought, man, I'm going to build me a nice one, case and everything. I thought that'll be fun, something to do. Oh, my God. I started adding up. They have a place in Micro Center where you can put it in your cart, and I added it up. I thought, oh, my, and that wasn't even the best stuff. It's a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. I tend to, every time I get a new computer, new to me, I'm usually buying last year's new stuff. It's like, because you start looking at the prices of like a 4080 or a 4090 card, and suddenly a 3080 card looks really good. You're like, wait a second, and so, because I think when I got the 2060 for this one, by then the 40s were starting to come out, and so the 20s were really low, and the 2060 was like almost giving away a card that 2 years before was $700, and all of a sudden I bought mine for like $89. It's like, so I figure some of the software that I'm running is 10-year-old software anyway. So if I get a 5-year-old video card, I'm all right. But
yeah, the 4080s are like about $1,000 right now. I looked into that, and then the 4070, I was like looking at the TI. That's around $800. So, but I'm thinking, if I'm gonna get something, I might as well save up for either. My son wants me to get the 4090, but that's like really expensive. And what's kind of crazy, if you look back, remember the Titan graphics card? That was like $1,000. That was the flagship. And then nowadays, if you can't even get to the flagship without going over $1,000. $1,000 on buying a graphics card. So it's like, well, I might get the 4080 or I might get the 4070 Ti, which would save me more money. And I kind of need this to do for my video editing, because right now it's just really slow if I'm trying to process videos in 4K. And this would help me a lot, because if I'm doing that, I have to step away, grab a coffee, and then wait for it to build the video. Well, it's like rendering the video file. So I know I got for my old computer that I'm running right now, it's the 980 Ti, and that was the top of the line back then. What was that, 2014, around there, when that card was at the top of the line, besides the Titan, right? So, but yeah.
Yeah. See, now I do all my editing on my laptop, so it doesn't even have. This one has the 2060 in it, and that's way better. So basically, all of my videos, if I edit it and I click on go ahead and render it, however long the video, it takes about half as much time to render. So if it's an hour-long truck stem, it takes 30 minutes to render it before I can upload it, because which is smoking fast compared to my old laptop that I used to do it on. It was pretty much 1-to-1. If it was an hour video, it was an hour to render it. So that one, and I probably should install the software on this and just see what would happen. But the weather's usually nicer in the house, so I want to sit there, sit on the couch and do some editing. But
I see Retro Bliss that a few people put down there that jealous and love Micro Center. I will say one thing I'm blessed with. Kelly and Bart came up here. That's one of the first places I took him. I thought Bart, I'd never be able to get Bart out of there. But I don't blame him. I mean, but it's, man, if you need it, if you want it, they got it. I mean,
that's like a kid in a candy store. Those places. You're just.
The only thing is they seem to go. They revolve around, which is fine. I guess that's what your business model's got to be, but it depends on what's hot at the time. You used to go in there, and it was loaded with little buttons and USB encoders and the little switches, everything you'd need for retro. Yeah, Atari Flight Stick with the trackball. That's exactly what I got. Matter of fact, the first cabinet I built was built around one of those because they had them so cheap. But that was big for a long time. Then all of a sudden, that stockpile started getting less and less. You couldn't find that there. And then all of a sudden, that whole section turned into a 3D printing section. So now I notice that's dying down, and now they've got that whole section back there now is nothing but YouTuber. It's got the Steam Deck, Stream Decks. It's got the audio mixers. They got this one you can buy for a couple grand. It's got cameras mounted on these things you put on your desk, and this little dial. It's like running a full studio. You can change your cameras and do stuff. So they like, you can't find any retro gaming stuff in there hardly at all now. Which, kind of bums me out, because I thought, man, I wish I could stock on a ton of that stuff. But I'd like to build. I'll just have fun building those cabinets.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like for a PC build, Greg? Like an older computer with their parts?
Yeah, no, you're talking about the gaming stuff. Yeah, the gaming stuff. I'm talking about the buttons and that. Now, as far as computers, no, I got to say that they stand fast on that. The biggest section in there is parts and being able to build your. I mean, there's a whole row full of hard drives, solid state hard drives, and they've got a whole row. Just those NVMe hard drives, and then the place is just loaded with graphics cards and hard drives and cases. I mean, that's what got me excited when you showed your case, Mike. I went in there and I saw their case. I was like, oh, wow, which one of those do I want?
Yeah, they had like one whole side of a whole aisle was just cases. So you're like, oh, look at this one, look at this one. And then you go to the other side of the aisle and they got the power supplies and stuff. And you're like, geez, you could spend all day just picking out the parts you want to try to put it together. It's an awesome store.
They have some demos put up. I'll tell you what I'm intrigued by is the water cooling system. I mean, they've got I don't know if it's water. I guess it's a fluid cooling system. And RGB fans. I mean, they got. So yes, the computer stuff. No, that's a given. It's just they kind of flake around on what their big push is. It's kind of what's popular at the time. But that's okay. It's good. That's good marketing. I mean, people are getting what they want. It seems to be popular.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing now with my PC. So Intel chips run really hot, so I'm going to do water cooling with that case you saw. I have a fish tank case with the monitor in front of it, which is pretty cool. But I've always had air cooled, which was fine for my old build. But if I'm running Intel, it's going to be a lot hotter. So I have to get water cooled for the CPU, which I'm going to buy like a more expensive one. What's kind of neat, it'll have a little display, and I'm going to have it show like the temperature. So, if it gets hotter, what's kind of neat, you can add this graphic to it where the hotter the temperature gets, the more the water level rises, and your little display inside the case towards the motherboard. So you'll see the temperature rise or lower depending on how much usage is going on through the CPU.
Excellent.
Very cool.
That's
I think I was telling Poe when I was talking to him about the Asus ROG Ally. I'm going to try to find the name of that program. It's a cool app to have, and Mike, you might want to. Well, of course, sounds like you're getting all this fancy stuff on your PC, but
yeah, yours is Asus, mine's MSI. I'm doing the MSI build.
But this one here is it's a little program you can download called CoreTemp, and you install it. Yeah, there it is, CoreTemp, and you just install it. I'm running it right now, and it tells me exactly. Oh, why is it asking? Oh, a new version. No, I don't want the new version. I just want to see this. It tells you what the temperature is on each one of your cores, what the high and the low is since you started the little app, and you can run it in the background. And even if your temperature gets over a certain level, it will do a little balloon pop up on your screen and say, "Hey, you hit 100." I got it set at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. That ROG is known for overheating, and I think I told Poke this too. I set up the manual setup in there to let the fans blow all the time, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, on my old case, what's kind of neat about that, so I bought it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's an 8 display, and you can adjust, you can turn the fan speed, more or lower it. And it also has the different areas where it's reading the temperature. So if you're looking at it, it's like, okay, this one's rising up to like 85 degrees. You can actually push the button in the front of my case and adjust the fan where it's blowing more air towards it so it can lower the temp. So I have that in my old case already, but the new one, what's going to be neat with the new case, it has that front display, right, on the case itself. So I have you can buy an app, not buy, but you can get an app for free that has the monitor, like for the temperature inside the case, the fans, the CPU too on the front, as well as like maybe the RAM, the motherboard, the M.2 SSD, and it'll have temperatures on there, and then you can adjust, okay, I need more fan speed on it, and you can probably set that up on that display. And what's kind of neat too, if you're doing streaming, if you want to have your text messages on there, which I plan to do, you can move it. It's like like a cell phone. So if you swipe it to the left or right, then you can get another section of it that has like the text chat, and it's like you can just like when you're playing a game or whatnot, you can look on the right, like, oh hey, someone's mentioning this or talking to me about that. Then you can answer them right away instead of having it on your screen where you're playing the game. It won't be on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. I can just look at my case, my my PC case, and look at the monitor there. It's like, okay, I can communicate with people on that, and it makes it really flexible. That's why I'm gonna, I'm anxious to do this new build with it. So it's gonna give me a lot more opportunities.
Plus, your son's doing that with you, right? So it's kind of a father-son project.
I helped him already with his PC case, so his is done. So he went with, because he's a gamer, wanted him to have an AMD build. So, and what's kind of neat, let's see, there's an instructor. Of course, if you don't know, I work at a college. He donated his what was it, the graphics card and the RAM, and their DDR4 RAM, and then also what was it, my friend Jason, Air Force Jason, that's been on my podcast. He's donated his CPU air cooler, which I think was a Ninja Assassin is what it's called. It's got like the 2 fins and the big radiator to keep his AMD cool. I think he's got an AMD 7 on his build. And then the motherboard, brand new, because he returned the one that wasn't working, got a brand new motherboard. And he just ended up giving, he's like, otherwise it's just going to be sitting on my shelf. So he said, why don't I give it to your son? So that way, the money he saved up, he can just save it for other stuff for his PC build. And so I had like people donate computer parts to him. He was able to get his build done quickly. And then of course I helped him, like we did it like when I got hired at my first job at the college working IT. And I built him. Actually, I have it right here because it's going to be my streaming thing here. It's this was his case right under the desk. Let me see it. And then everything has to fit perfectly in here. So you have not a lot of space. And these were considered LAN party cases back in the day. So you can get them in different colors like orange, yellow, red, blue, pink, if you want that color as well. But I told him he got lucky on that because I don't think they sell these cases anymore. I think it's like a Phoenix case. But yeah, that was his first build. And he and me did that when he was, I'm trying to think how old he was, 2014. Yeah, 4 years old. So I had him starting building his PC around like when he was 4, like screwing it in, putting the RAM in and stuff like that. And then what's kind of neat, I have the old pictures and I'll be posting it on Facebook. And then, and we did another take on the old pictures where we're doing his new build. So I have it from when we're older. And then the last photos were when he was like 4, he sat, of course, on my knee. And then we had his computer displayed when we used to live in a single wide trailer back in the day. Prior to moving to this house, right? And then I said, hey, do you want to recreate that where you're sitting? And he's like, no, Dad, he's already had team. So we just had it there. But it was kind of funny. A lot of my coworkers like, no, you need to do that because some of the, those pictures from back then to now, the kids still recreate the scene that they were when they were a little kid. So yeah.
But
so I'm thinking about reshooting that. And then he's like, you know what? I think I should do that. So we're going to reshoot that photo. Yeah.
I was going to say when I was 4, I made a top-of-the-line computer with my dad, too. We took a couple pieces of wood and we put some metal rods and had beads on them that you could slide the beads across. That's about how computers were when I was 4.
What's that called, an abacus or something like that?
Yeah, because you either had to have that or a computer the size of a house to
Right.
have the same half or a tenth of the power or a hundredth of the power of a cell phone now.
Yeah, some of the computers we had when I was in the Air Force, it was 70s technology for some of these missiles. So the computer test room was cabinet after cabinet. There were 4 stations there. These giant cabinets that had all the push buttons and toggle switches and dip switches. And the disk we put in with the program was this big.
Yeah, they had the
Stuck it in
real
there.
tapes and stuff. That it would cut stuff.
It didn't have reel-to-reel, but we had these big discs, and they were inside a plastic housing. You shoved the thing in there and closed the door. It looked like a toaster oven door. And we had 4 stations in there to test 4 missiles at a time. So the room was huge, and they would get so hot that they had to have that room freezing cold. And then they had almost like it's for static freeze, sticky film in front of all the doors. So when you walked in, you stepped on it, it was supposed to get rid of the static out of your static electricity out of your body. Yeah, it was old 70s technology. But it was hilarious because, and then you had the printer paper that was like bigger
Right.
than you.
with the little pinholes on the side.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
And then it wouldn't sit in right half the time, and it would get jammed. And yeah, good time.
See, my first experience with computers was 1969. I was going to junior high in Kansas City,
Good year.
Missouri. Yeah.
Good year.
Yeah. It was a junior high school that was brand new built. And no air conditioning in the school as of that time, except one room. And it was a huge room in the back of the school with no windows and had a raised floor because it was the computer room. And
Yeah,
they had
everything's
these,
underneath.
yeah, and but they also had all the wires ran underneath, but they had these giant banks that were like the size of they'd be bigger than Bart's game room there. Just dozens of them lined up with tapes, big reel-to-reel tapes, and they were going spinning this way and spinning that way. And when you sat down at the terminal, all I can think to let you guys think of how to think of it is like, do you want to play a game? Because that's what it was. It was all DOS, and it would say, "Welcome, student," and you got to interact with the computer. It was dumb stuff, but but yeah, I mean, and I bet there's more power in this cell phone than there was in that whole building of that computer with those reel-to-reel things.
Yeah, our simulator, Poe, when I was in the Navy, we had a simulator, and it was kind of cool. Those of us that rode in the back of the plane, it was set up just like the plane. So I'd go sit down, and it was like my station. I had the radar and all that stuff. The acoustic guys were over there, and then the pilots had their flights that was moving, and so when they were flying, and they were linked up, and we'd do complete missions. But there was a whole room way bigger than the simulator with all the different bays, computer.
Right.
That was it. They had reel-to-reel tapes running those programs and stuff like that. They said it was somewhere between $60 and $80 million for those computers back then.
Yeah.
And that was at the late 80s when I was doing that. Now, my first personal computer I had two 5 1/4-inch floppy drives, no hard drive, monochrome monitor. Yeah, and good times. The first when I got Windows, what was it, 3.1, and it came on 11 floppy disks, but it was the 3.5-inch floppies that would hold 1.44 megabytes, the high density floppies. And it's like,
if you had that same system, it sounds like I had. Then answer me this, Mark. What was the first computer game I can remember the first computer game I played on that. It came on floppy, and you had to change them out depending on where you at. Think of the first game that you played on that. I started gaming back then with that.
oh, geez. I don't remember what I played. The first thing I played on that.
Leisure Suit Larry, Legend of Lounge Lizard, something with the Lounge Lizards. It was Leisure Suit.
Yep.
Yeah. That my high school had tape drives for the computers when I took computer class in high school. But I did end up getting a very rudimentary helicopter simulator that you could play off of those floppy disks. But yeah, and the first computer I had that had a hard drive, that's when I had Windows 3.1. And I upgraded my hard drive to an unbelievably huge, at the time, 80 megabyte hard drive. And it was like, and that's megabyte with an M. And it was huge. It was huge at the time. I paid a lot of money for that drive. And it's like, what am I going to do to fill up 80 megabytes? Oh, my goodness. But yeah.
I remember they had a 286, and you got a 386, and you got a 486. And one buddy of mine told me, the modems to communicate. One guy told me, they had the 14.4, then the 28.8. And this guy and I figured this out. I mean, I'm not saying it was for sure, but it had to be. They released the 14.4, and then as soon as they sold enough of them, the 28.8 came out. We all figured that they built those 28.8s before they even shipped over the 14.4s. They just were going to release them, then say, oh, we got one better.
14.4. My first modem was a 2400 baud. The 14.4 is 14,400. Mine was 2400. So even text messages were taking a long time. And my first computer was an 8088. It was not even a 386, 486. It was 8088. It was an old IBM. It had a turbo button on it, so you could get the multiplier going. But yeah, it just had floppy drives, no hard drives. But then I did build a 386 that had the 80 megabyte hard drive. I had like
That was
4
huge.
megabytes of RAM. That was ridiculous at the time. But yeah,
Ballistic Coffee Boy, I just want to recognize Ballistic Coffee Boy Canvas Kid showed up. I don't know if I missed
yeah, I didn't throw them up there as quickly as possible. We were talking so much, and I will be scrolling back up. There was some chat that we need to get to up there because it is big news for this week. But we got into the computer talk, and I didn't want to interrupt.
Well, go ahead and go back to it, Mark.
Yeah. Let me get
Yeah, Greg,
caught
you
up.
mentioned those floors that had the wires under them. When I ran program phone systems and put them in businesses in Pittsburgh 20-some years ago, a lot of old buildings in Pittsburgh that had floors like that where you stepped up and they were actually panels. You had to use a suction cup thing to take them off
Mm-hmm.
and run the data cable and stuff under them. What a mess those were. Just electrical wires, data cabling, phone wires, everything everywhere.
The only reason the kids liked the class that when I was talking about is because it had to be air conditioned too. It was the only air conditioned classroom in the whole school. So you just looked forward to that 1 hour a day, especially on hot days. And, you didn't even care about the computer. You just wanted to sit there and relax in the air conditioning.
Yeah, speaking of like flight slims, so my first computer, it was a laptop. I bought when I was in the Navy, and I was in Kosovo during that time. So I really wanted a computer because there was nothing to do there. We had an N64 in the break room, and it only had what game was that? Rainbow Six, which I sucked at. So it's like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to buy a PC. So ended up calling Gateway. And this was during, Windows XP. So I was going to get a Windows XP laptop from Gateway. And I had to talk to customer service and say, hey, I'm stationed in Kosovo right now. Is there a way you can send it here, using the military address? And actually they said, yes, we can mail it. Unlike, when I contacted Dell and the other companies, they said, no, we can't ship it to you. It has to be either United States or someplace in Europe or whatnot, or Asia. So, but I was really surprised Gateway said yes to it. Yeah, we can send it to you. So I ended up getting the computer. I bought a joystick for it, so that way I can play some sort of flight simulator. I wanted to play like a World War II or something modern with an aircraft, going on bombing runs or whatnot. So ended up getting, I forgot what the game was called, but it was on I think it was like an F-16 fighter that you would go around destroying other places on the map with it. So I bought that game. Command Conquer Tiberian Sun, RTS, which is a real-time strategy game. I wanted to get that one as well, so I ordered that. And Baldur's Gate. So I got that too. And had them, can you send these games to me? So I had those sent off. And yeah, when I got it, of course, I was like really excited. Oh, awesome. It's got Windows XP on it. And it was kind of neat. I could bring it, so if I had Watch, which was, I did comms in Kosovo. So that was a COC Command Operation Center. And I could bring my laptop there because, you're just like with what I'm doing now. I had the headset, had to monitor the traffic. And sometimes there's nothing. Just as long as I'm not listening to anything, because I had to just pay attention to what's going on in the headset. I can go on the computer and, browse around. That was like the days of the internet. And of course, remember the resolution? It was like, 356 or something like that. It wasn't 1080 back then. So, if you watched video files, they were in the little circle that you'd have to watch. It was kind of funny. A friend of mine he was so excited. He's like, oh my God, you can watch adult movies. I'm like, what? And he's like, he found some websites. And I said, dude, so here's the thing. You weren't allowed on a military base to be watching that stuff. I said, if you get caught, because we had like people who ran the IT department and our base, I said, you're going to lose your computer privileges. So he stopped watching. He's like, getting into that rabbit hole. He wanted to jump in. He's like, I got to go explore these. I go, no, dude, stop it. When you get back home, go ahead and explore your heart's content. But yeah, I remember the video files because I got really excited. I got to watch, movie trailers and like, oh, cool. As soon as I get out of here, I'm going to be watching these movies when I got back home. But I just remembered the flight simulator with the joystick. And I would actually have to bring it to the gym because it was like one of the only places that was warm. And I would be playing this PC at. It was awesome. And also the other RTS games I like. And I got into was it Monkey Island? I don't know if anybody's played that game before. Lucasfilm Games made a lot of great point-and-click adventures. But I just remember that. That was one of my favorites back then when I played the PC. And of course, back during that, XP was really awesome. Because I remember back during 95, 98, when, AOL existed. It felt good, but XP to me, way better. And I remember ME. So if you remember Millennium, it wasn't as good as XP. So when I got Millennium, it's like, and I had that for my desktop when I was stationed back in the States. And I'm like, I like XP, so I went back to XP. I couldn't handle Millennium. It sucked.
Yeah, Windows ME. I was on Windows ME for about a day and a half. I'm like, give me XP back.
Yeah. Isn't that when they had Clippy, too? The little Clippy art. And I'm like, I don't like Clippy. But it was kind of neat. Remember back then you can get these funny wallpapers. So I remember in the Navy I downloaded it's this guy on the island. Have you ever seen it? And he's by himself. And sometimes a coconut would land and then he would move to it and drink out of it. And then if you just kind of watch it, sometimes there'd be a boat that came by and he looks like he was going to get rescued. He'd be waving. And then, of course, the people on the boat would be waving back at him and then they leave him on an island. And there would be another one where there's like this mermaid going around, right? And then he would get excited, like, hey, come visit me. And then, and then of course she'd dive under the water, and of course he'd dive in, and then next thing you know, there's like a great white shark that would chase him. But it was a little thing on the bottom of the computer where this person would move about. And of course, the funniest part was when there's another island that would touch on his, and it was another dude, and they would get into a fight. And then, of course, it just moves around. I don't know if you've ever seen that. And they had like different types of characters. I don't know if it was like a wallpaper, but it was a kind of a moving. So you just left it on there, he'd be doing something different. Did you remember that or no?
I never saw that, but it sounds cool though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to catch up with the chat. There was a lot of chatting going on when I scrolled up.
Oh,
Menace, what's up?
Menace is in the house. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, good times. Good times with those old computers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Doing all that stuff. But unless anyone else had anything else to say about the old computers and all that.
Oh, I was just thinking about the first one I had in the Air Force, and that was the late 90s. And we had them at work. And then I bought one from Gateway. And I had a sergeant come over that was good with them to teach me because I never messed with computers. But the ones we had at work, of course, were for work only. And there was one senior airman in with me. He decided he was going to look up cheat codes for PlayStation 1 games. So he's in there and he's looking them up and he's hitting print. And they're not print to our printer. And he's like, I'm trying to print these out. I don't know what's going on. After lunch, we get a call from the chief master sergeant, whose building was 2 miles away from ours, but they were all networked. He said, is somebody looking for their video game codes? They've been printing out on my printer all morning out here. It's just like, oh, shit.
But he had a good sense of humor about it, sounds like.
Yeah, he was a good chief.
That's awesome.
Did he need any of those codes? Maybe that's why he didn't mind. He didn't get you guys in trouble. He probably needed it. Yeah.
Bart, was there something you wanted to go back and address that came up earlier, you said?
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to scroll back up and find it again because it's way up there now. Because as who was it that Ballistic said, Chatty Cathy's in the house today. Our chat is going like, wow. Now, I was just going to transition into, we talked about all that classic stuff and all those old. There was some news that came out this week from Zen Studios, and Kelly had mentioned in the chat, looking forward to the Princess Bride table. Princess Bride table coming out next week, I think, right? Or no, it's in
end of the month, 20,
yeah,
20 something.
26th or 29th or something like that of August. But if this was a professional show, we'd have known that date. But, so 2 new tables were announced and teasers for Williams tables, which is causing a lot of people a lot of speculation out there. So that's fun. But I'm really looking forward to that Princess Bride table. It looks awesome. And then they also have what Poe has been saying for years now. I remember when I met Poe back in high school, he was saying, if we could just get a goat simulator pinball machine down at the 7-Eleven, I would quit school today and just live at the 7-Eleven.
I love Goat Simulator. It's awesome.
Yeah. But, and everybody's saying the same thing. They're like, yeah, Princess Bride and Goat Simulator. Oh, okay.
I was watching that live when it was going. And
best people ever.
Well, it will be. Right? They showed, as soon as they showed the goat, I'm sitting in a room by myself watching this, and I'm like, Goat Simulator. I said it as a joke. And then they get through the whole thing, and they're like, Goat Simulator. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, that is hilarious. And watch, it'll be the best game ever. With I don't know if it's a bad choice of a theme. It's just surprising. It's like, I don't think anyone expected that there would be a Goat Simulator pinball. But hopefully Elvira, that is in the running, because they said
I'm waiting
there's
for
going to
that.
be one 1988 and 2 1989 tables. And they don't usually specify between the Bally and the Williams. It could be either, but so there's a lot of speculation going around. A lot of people are thinking Taxi's going to be one of them, which I've never played Taxi, but it's very popular.
And Black Knight, a lot of people were saying.
Black Knight 2000 is on that list, which we were talking with, I think Ed was saying about that one the other day. My old table, the Joker's table, that came out in 1988, and it's a Williams table, so that's on. I don't think that'll happen. I don't think it was a very popular table. I loved it because I owned it, but I'd never heard of it before I bought it. The first time I played it was at the place when I was going to buy it. So there's a lot of speculation, but I am really looking forward to those. And at the same time, they're going to do updates to all. And it's coming out on everything, including the Switch. And there's going to be, I guess, a fairly major update to FX on the Switch. And they're going to do the normal every time they do an update to Pinball FX. They're going to fix bugs in other tables, and and some of them are different than others. Maybe this table has an error on the PlayStation, a different table has a problem on Xbox, and they patch all that stuff as much as they can. So it's going to be a big day. 2 tables and updates for pretty much all the systems are going to have some updates on Pinball FX.
I had a little problem on Pinball FX earlier this week. I was using the PC to play, not the pinball machine. I was using it here in the office, and my controller wouldn't work. Same Xbox controller I've had hooked up to the PC. It worked with the keyboard, the flippers and all that, but it wouldn't even show up when you went to settings. So I brought the ROG down here, which has its own keyboard, its own controller built into it, and it worked fine. So I don't know, and I'll tell you what, I have not gone back and tried it yet with this system, and that's on Epic too. So I don't know if it was an Epic problem, if it was a Pinball FX problem, or maybe it was user error. I don't know, but all I know is I checked my Windows, and it made sure that it said that the controller was hooked up. You know how Windows will tell you which button you're pushing. Everything looked fine, but it would not play the game on Epic on Pinball FX.
Huh.
I don't know what
Yeah, I know sometimes their control schemes are kind of wacky with the FX on Epic and on Steam, and I've seen people that have trouble with different things. But yeah, I do. Ballistic, I remember that the Microsoft Pinball Arcade releases back in the day. Yeah, and Space Cadet.
Oh, I
made
remember
an
that.
updated version of Space Cadet.
I played that on our live
yeah.
stream. Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, you played that. Yeah. Yeah, that was classic back in the day. Classic. But yeah, so I am looking forward to the big. It's always nice to get new tables. And of course, Cannabis said he's patiently waiting for a Bally 1976 Elton John. And I tell people all the time, in the chats, and when people go nuts whenever Send announces that they're doing more of their original tables instead of Williams tables, and people immediately start catching their hair on fire. It's like, get VPX, man. Any table that you can think of, you can generally find because someone's made a recreation of them. And some of them, to be honest, they play better than the Zen versions. Zen has all the bells and whistles. They'll have the characters jumping around on the table and all that stuff. But if you just want to play the table, look into VPX. If you have a computer even a halfway decent, you don't have to have a top of the line computer to run VPX. And now with the baller installer, it's almost, you don't even have to know what you're doing really. You can just click, it asks you a few questions. Where do you want your play field? Where do you want your back glass? And you can get that thing set up. And there are so many excellent recreation of real world tables. It's kind of the people that I know not everybody plays on PC. If you're playing on an Xbox or PlayStation, you can't put VPX on there. But if you're playing on PC and you're playing FX on Steam, do yourself a favor and get VPX. I mean, Greg, you've been using VPX for years, and so have I. And I still on this thing, I still have a version of VP8 on there, because there were a couple tables that never got updated from there. I have VP8, VP9, and VPX, which is VP10. And yeah, so I always tell people, if you're looking for a specific table, you're all mad at Zen for not putting it out, get VPX. If it's that important to you that you're going to throw a fit and cuss out Lars and his family jewels.
Yeah, I've kept all the old versions I got on one of the machines. I got it set up like the Stingray, 1977 Stingray that I've got, the real one. Well, it won't run on the newer VPX versions, but it will run on one of the older ones. And I just love having that game running on that digital pinball right next to the real one. Because people come over and look and they go,
do you remember which one that's out for? Is it 8 or 9 or is it just one of the older versions of VPX?
Just an older version of VPX.
Because I was looking for it in my live stream on Thursday. I was playing some old Ding Ding tables, and I said, you know what? I'll jump out. I was playing Zaccaria, and I was playing the solid states and EMs. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to jump over there because I used to have that Stingray table for VPX or VP one of them, and I couldn't find them. And then I remembered that's right because I had taken the pinball machine apart and then I rebuilt it. And I lost everything. I started from scratch when I did that, so I don't have all those tables. But I was going to play Stingray, and I don't have it anymore. So I got to relook it up because I did have it on my digital.
Well, if I can remember what folder it's in, that's the biggest thing with me is, you can lose stuff in a computer easier than you can in the track of the seat of your car. But if I'm sure I can find it, I'll just email it to you, Bart, because I know I've got a shortcut to it on that other machine, which will point me to where it's located. So I'll get that off to you.
Will the pinball emulator, you're talking VPX, will it run on a Pi 3B? I don't believe so. I don't think it'll run on a Pi 3B. I don't think it'll run on a Pi 4. And what are they at? They came out with a Pi 5 now, didn't they? And
yeah.
I don't know that it might. I don't know. I've never seen anyone run it but I know on the 3B it won't. Um, that's what I use in the house is 3B.
I know there's a CoinOps emulator that's got FX2 tables on it that you can get. But again, it's just for the PC. It's not, you can't do it on a Pi. I got Pi's landing on all over here.
Mike's Gaming Gal rocked XP for a long time. I went straight from XP to Windows 10. And now Windows 11 is out, and I'm still on Windows 10. And I probably will be until there's a huge jump, or they completely discontinue 10 and stop doing updates and stuff.
One of my PC on 10 said that I had up to a certain length of time to upgrade my PC to 11. Notifications from Microsoft saying that they were going to discontinue upgrades on it. Of course, the last two systems I bought came with 11 on them. And I'm getting used to them, but it's like everything else. Why do you change something for the sake of changing it? I mean, just a whole bunch of little, just call it what it is, a bunch of little bullshit changes that are like, why did you do that? What was that? What was the purpose behind it?
Yeah, you won't have to need to change, Greg, for a while. What I'm ending up going to be doing, since I like 10 Pro, there'll be like a third party that will still roll out updates. Microsoft will still stop, but you got to think of all the other companies out there. They don't want to move. I mean, they have their systems in place. Well, they'll just pay someone else to do the updates, which I remember reading about. So there will be another company that will dish out the updates for you, so you don't have to leave 10 if you don't want to. I'm not going to go to 11. I'm not fond of it. I remember installing it to a few of the classrooms, and people, the students don't like it quite. They like 10 more. And I know a lot of them also said, I wish we could go back to 7. I'm like, well, no more updates on 7 anymore. But yeah, a lot as far as 11 goes, it's just like, well, you heard about the blue screen of death that was going on, right, with a lot of companies. That's why I don't like 11, because a lot of things like that happen. Whereas 10, I've never had any issues with it.
Yeah, and it's some of the subtle changes, like and File Explorer. You used to be able to right click on a file, and right there was delete permanently. I mean, there were a lot of things. And now it's like, I'm trying to delete a file. Like, where'd the delete go? Where's it at? Oh,
yeah.
Over there. Like, why'd you move that? And the shutdown button. I mean, it's like I spent 5 minutes, because I'm old, but I was sitting there looking, how do I turn this son of a gun off? I mean, where'd he go?
Anyone remember NT? That was the first. That's how you had to go to get to 64-bit the first time, I believe, was Windows NT. You couldn't get because Windows XP was 32-bit, but you could get NT and go 64-bit, and you could run some stuff a lot better than. But it was kind of more technical. It wasn't so popular for gaming and stuff like that, but it had a lot of horsepower if you were doing other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like NT was used for mostly servers, weren't they?
Yeah, servers and stuff like that.
Like 95 and 98 were more of a consumer business and user type.
Yeah, they were. My uncle, he switched over to NT right away when it came out. He's one of those types of guys. He's the one who taught me how to build computers when I got out of the Navy. Because up till then, I didn't really have an option. The computers just weren't very popular. And I got out of the Navy, and he said, "Why you don't want to buy a computer? I'll show you how to build one." And
nice.
Yeah, and he's a tech kind of guy. He always built gadgets. The little like my Donkey Kong. I don't know if you can see it. My little Donkey Kong up there. Those, what are they?
I see it.
The Coleco ones that came out. I had a Pac-Man. And I don't know if you ever played that Pac-Man, but it was very loud and very annoying. And my uncle, I brought it over to his house one day, and I'm playing it, and he goes, "Hey, can you leave that here overnight?" And I thought he just wanted to play it, and I'm thinking, coolest uncle ever. When he brought it back to me the next day, he had taken to where you didn't need batteries. He made it so you could plug it in, and he put a volume knob on it. I'm like, oh, I'm sure my parents were like, I like the volume knob part of it because I was playing that thing all the time. I don't know whatever happened to it. I still have the Donkey Kong, but I don't know whatever happened to that Pac-Man. But that's the kind of guy he was. He was a tinkerer. He would take things apart, and add things and all that. And he taught me how to build computers and showed me, this is RAM and this is where this goes. And, this. So that was very handy.
For you guys that built your own, though, I got to ask this. I built my own. The first one I built was the one for that first V-Pen I built, the black and red one that I got in the game room. And I know I watched YouTube videos. I had a little, the guy at the Micro Center gave me a little reference guide, and plus the little flyers that came with the motherboard and all this and that. But I know I kept looking to say, okay, plug this into here. And then I'd think, okay, well, which way is it supposed to be? This way or this way? So I got it all together and I double checked, triple checked everything. But still, when I plugged it in the first time, I got a hold of the cord. I got close to the outlet, right where I could push it in. And then I closed my eyes and pushed it in. I expected a boom.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day, they weren't so picky about, there was stuff you could plug in backwards. And, it's like they didn't always key the plugins and you'd have to look on the motherboard and see, okay, this is where pin 1 goes and look for the red wire on the ribbon cable and
I've been
all
looking
that
at a
stuff.
magnifying glass on the motherboard so I can see this one says R, this one says G, this one says B, red, green, blue,
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. I bought one of those. It wasn't a Gateway. I can't remember who made it, but I bought one of those because it was a pretty good deal. And I ended up selling that in, I think, 2 or 3 months. I sold it on eBay for like a $400 loss because everything on it was proprietary. You couldn't replace the hard drive. You had to have a hard drive for that. You couldn't put another video card in it. It had onboard video that you couldn't disable, and there was no it's like, oh my gosh, I'll never do that again. And I sold it on eBay for a loss, and bought myself a new. Just from then on, I always built my computers, and my kids loved it because I would build a new one and then just trickle it down to them. So back in the, before Wi-Fi wasn't even a thing yet. And nobody had network computers in your home. That was something for big businesses and stuff. And when I built my house, I ran coax cable between my office to each of the kids' rooms. And I used the old coax type of wire for the local network. And we had a LAN. I was the first house in our town that had high-speed internet, and it was using microwave transmitters. You dialed up, and you download it through a microwave transmitter. And the owner of the company sent a tech guy over to my house because he's like, I was talking to the owner. I said, yeah, I have 4 computers networked and we're using your service. He's like, you can do that? And so he came over to my house. He sent his tech guy over to my house to learn how to network computers inside the house. And but we would play games, the kids and me and their mom would be in the office, and we'd play like capture the flag games and stuff like that, paintball type of games where it's us against the kids. And nobody had network computers back then. It was kind of, but my uncle taught me all. He showed me how to do all of that stuff.
Nice.
If I'd have thought of it at the time I had this house built when I retired, and I had enough foresight to tell my son how to do that. My oldest son lives up in Wisconsin. He was having a place built, and I told him, I said, get with that builder and find out how much more it is when they run that phone line or that cable line through the house, just to add some Cat 5 or 6 wire. Because I'll tell you what, it's been a pain. Everything now down here is all run on LAN, but I have to run. There's one place that has to cross the carpet. I've told you guys this before. Betty's chewed it, but I got this big rubber heavy thing that goes over it now and lays in the hallway. But I had an electrician out to work on something else, and it was a pretty easy run. And I thought, well, he didn't charge me that much. And I asked him, I said, how much would it cost to run LAN all the way into this room here? And he said, $600. I mean, that's one cable. So I wish now I'd have had enough foresight to tell a builder to put something like that. Of course, probably would have been outdated by the time I got to use it enough.
Yeah.
A lot to be said for what you get done in your house before it's done if you're having.
That's funny. You mentioned for the first networking, like what you did, Bart. So when I was a kid, when I had my NES, the original NES, of course, a lot of us kids owned that system in my neighborhood. And then, of course, I lived out in the country. So there was one particular friend that had a computer. So I remember I had to ride my bike towards him. And he was playing Doom on his computer. And he was actually talking to me. He's like, hey, I can play with someone online. I'm like, what? So I've never heard of that before. He's like, yeah, let me call our friend Jeff. And Jeff had a computer in town, I remember. And so you had to call him up, right, on the phone. And then I'm not sure how they would be able to like type in a number or whatnot. So he would have to play Doom on his computer. And of course, my friend Mike was playing Doom on his computer. And then after they called on the phone, they got set up and then they were able to play one-on-one with each other. Yeah. I'm like, that really blew me away. That was like the first time I've ever seen someone go head to head on a PC game. And that was just not common, but they were the only two people I know of who are my friends that had a PC. Because, the rest of us only had the original NES at our homes. Or, I had a few people that had the Sega Master System. But, yeah, that was actually really cool. I've never seen something like that. So,
you talk about being on the phone. It's funny you mentioned Doom.
Yeah.
I played Doom on a PC against another guy, but we had to figure out a way to communicate. Well, the way I met this guy, we had that solved. We were both ham radio operators. So
nice.
So we'd sit down, and he just lived across the state line, but we'd talk to each other, and then we'd say, oh, I got you, oh, you're around the corner. But what was funny is our signals, we'd end up getting people from California going, they'd hear us, on the frequency runner. What are you guys playing? So, we were talking about, so that was kind of cool. That's another quick anecdote. I think the internet and all this stuff pretty much ruined ham radio. There's nobody's hardly on ham radio anymore. What? I can talk. Look, the four of us are sitting and talking to we had Gideon here from the Netherlands.
Netherlands, yeah.
Yep.
My neighbor that he has the property right behind us, but they don't live here. They just have a camper and they come 2 or 3 times a year. They'll spend a week here or something. He sets up an antenna. He does ham radio still to this day. Yeah. And, he's a ham radio guy, and I don't say anything because it's a hobby like anything else. But it's like I always think you can just go online and talk to people all around the world and see their pictures. But it's a hobby and it's fun to do all that and tune in the frequencies and find someone else that's doing it. So I get it.
My old house. See, when I moved out here, there's a homeowners association, so I've got a small radio downstairs. It's for local. I can talk 80, 100 miles, but, I can't put up a big antenna. My old house I had a 40-foot tower, and I lived in a neighborhood in Kansas City that was up high on a hill anyway. And, oh, man, I'd talk to Russians. I'd talk to people in Europe all the time. I mean, one of the funnest ones, Poe, was talking to your Air Force guys. There's guys in the Air Force that are ham radio operators, and they're flying. I talked to a guy that was over Washington State, and we started shooting the bull in the evening one night. He says, where did you say you are? And I said, Missouri. And he says, well, look up and wave. He says, I'm flying over Missouri right now. He said, you won't be able to see me, but I talked to him all the way from Seattle to here.
Wow.
Air Force guy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was part of the reason when I was in that we weren't allowed to say certain things over the CBs anymore, because in North Dakota in the 90s, there was nothing around. But the old farmers a lot of them were on the ham radios and stuff. So one of the things they used to say is whenever you had a team go to take the empty trailers off of the flight line after they took the missile pylons off of them, they were called a shag team. But then Austin Powers came out, so you weren't allowed to be shag team anymore. You were tow team this, tow team that. Couldn't say shag on the radio. All the tail numbers for the B-52s started with 00. and then you had their number. So they just said balls all the time on the radio. We're going out the balls, 75 or whatever for the plane. They're like, no more balls, no more shag. You can't say any of that on the radio anymore. These people are hearing it on their ham radios and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I never did the ham radios, but back in the day, all of my cars, I always put a CB radio in it.
Oh,
then
nice.
When I was in the Navy in Jacksonville, I had a CB base station in the house with an antenna on the roof, and that way, because it took me about 20 minutes to get home, we'd have an hour lunch. 20 minutes to get home, 20 minutes. So I'd only have 20 minutes to eat. So on the way home, I would call my ex-wife on the CB from the car, and she'd start cooking my lunch. So when I pulled in the driveway, it was already hot and ready to go or whatever. And then, and all my buddies, we all had CB radios. We'd be talking on there. They called my handle I was the Desert Rat because I was from Arizona. So they called me the Desert Rat. And everyone thought I was going to get a tattoo of Wile E. Coyote. And I'm like,
it's funny. It's funny. At my age, I can't remember what happened 2 weeks ago, but I can remember I had the CB license. You used to have a CB license at first. KADF 2190. Now, don't ask me. That was my CB license number. KADF 21. I don't know how I can remember that, but I remember that to this day.
yeah.
Now, I just renewed mine. And that's something, if I give your ham license out, there's a database out there. You can check it. You can find out my exact address and everything.
But I'll tell you this, I'm going to do a little commercial break here for our show, because where else do you tune into a YouTube show and see four guys that start off talking about a pinball tournament, and now we're talking about ham radios and CB radios? You don't never know. And here, I know Mike's Gaming Gala, he's waiting for the, what was it we always called it, the when we were talking about music, the vinyl. The vinyl. Talking about the vinyl section. We might get to it still. We're only an hour and a half into this show. We still have 72 potential topics to talk about. There it is. Thought this was a vinyl show. That's right. Vinyl. Everyone's yelling at me. Hey, we've already figured out. By the time you guys hear us, we've already figured it out. There is a delay. So.
One thing I gotta admit, I'm good. I'm only good till 8 o'clock tonight. I mean, you guys can stay longer if you want, but I'm gonna be out of here at 8. But
when are you gonna start getting good? 5-0.
Yeah, you got to tighten up the first half, Greg.
Yeah,
Too much tech talk.
we do have Mr. Postile did pick a challenge this week. You want to say anything?
Before we get to that challenge, I got to play this. I'm going to play this.
Oh, okay.
We're going to see how long it takes you to find your glasses.
Oh, the ones on top of my head?
Oh, man. Poe had the over-under at 7 minutes.
Which pair? Ever since I had that eye surgery, they said I don't need glasses, and I don't. Unless I want to see what's on that chat up there. I mean, I can see everything drive. I can see everything. I can read a book. Man, that chat on that big screen up there is... Wow, there's a lot of people talking.
So you put the glass on top of your head so you can read the upper screen.
His eyeballs go up. Yeah.
It's actually a good night. I don't know why. Of course, it's darker out. It's getting darker earlier. Days are getting longer. I don't have as much glare back behind me, so I'm seeing a little better tonight.
I keep all my glare in front of me.
Yes, you do.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Greg. So we were going to segue this into some gaming, I think.
Yeah.
We accidentally get some gaming in every once in a while on this show.
Actually, there's a little video to show, but I want Poe to set us up. So, Poe, set us up.
Oh, sorry, I was reading the list of Yeah, I asked you guys whose turn it was to pick, and everybody said not me, not me. So I said, okay, maybe I'll pick something. So once again, here I am to disappoint everybody with the console challenge of the week.
And here it goes.
All right.
Yeah, this will give me time to take a nap.
All right. I'll start the challenge for the show. The console challenge for the week. I just picked Balloon Fight. And, well, I'm going to play it here in my iArcade, even though that's not ideal. As far as control scheme goes, it is convenience since I already have my laptop and everything hooked up to it. And this is definitely one that, again, I think everybody knew about this game, but it wasn't one that I really spent any significant time with. I didn't own it for my NES back when I was a kid or anything. So that 59,000 is what I got first time playing this here on my arcade. I may have, was this on Versus? Probably Play Choice or whatever, so I probably have it on here arcade form as well. But we're doing it for the NES console for the challenge this week. And if you're a fan of Joust, you just may like this. Like I said, I never really knew much about the scoring and stuff on here, but I played that one game here before I started up just to see if it would be a fun high score challenge game, and I learned a little bit. No, that wasn't showing how good I learned there, how well I learned there. Actually, I died here quicker than I did in my first game, so. But we're doing game A, single player obviously. This will go till Saturday. I don't know the date. Sometimes you can just let them go, they'll fall into the water and die. I saw a big fish or something come out and grab, kind of like the hand in Joust. And eventually, there we go, I was just going to mention that, eventually those storm clouds will try to zap you as well. I don't know if I'll have to cut this short. There we go. Oh, get away! You can go off screen and onto the other side. See, the fish got him. So we're all good. This is like a bonus round. Well, it is a bonus round. Not like a bonus round. The first time I played this, I didn't even realize you could go off screen until this round. I accidentally did it. I'm gonna miss that one. Go ahead somehow. Oh no! No, go back! Well, I missed two. Let's see how we do. I'm sweating. But yeah, just get them from above. Like Joust. Oh, look out for the fishy. I'm stuck. No! I like that little robotic sounds. That one looks kind of like the Great Gazoo from Flintstones, and lots of people hate it. And the reason I like Gazoo is because he was voiced by the late, great Harvey Korman. I was a huge Harvey Korman fan. Dum dum. Oh no! Oh no! I got one life left. That's okay. I don't want this video to go too long. Yeah, that's why I'm dying so easily. For the show. Didn't want this video to go too long, so gotta sacrifice. Seems like a pretty decent scoring game, though. Get the bubbles, get the balloons. Well, luckily I haven't been electrocuted yet. Oh! Every time I say something, then something terrible is about to happen here. 51-9, I'm almost beating my last score. One thing I did notice too, like Joust, is these higher levels, once you get stuck at the bottom, you're almost screwed trying to find a clear pathway to get up there and kill these guys. Get 'em. Double do. Lightning strikes. Oh. I want the bubble. I got it. Alright, 64-4. I might have to sacrifice my game here. My video. If I go past the time. This is definitely first time really playing this game, and it seemed pretty fun and pretty easy for the most part. I'm gonna miss them again. I missed 2 again. And I thought this might be a bit relevant because if you do have this, there were mini games of this, the challenges. And instead of goofing around there, I definitely should have been up there trying to kill those guys. Oh, this is cray. Oh no! I didn't even see that happen over there. The fish will get him. Doesn't help me out, but the fish will get him. Oh! Oh! It's getting hairy over there. Oh no! Well, there you go. First time shock. Little skeleton fella. Game over. 78-400. 78-400. Like I said, this game is on the World Champions NES edition for the Switch. You can play mini challenges of this game. So that's the game, Balloon Fight. Check it out, play it. Oh, I'm so close to getting my butt kicked. The challenge will go until Saturday of next week, this week, whatever day it is here. The 10th, August 10th at midnight Pacific Standard Time. Go to the show's Discord, get your scores in.
Nice.
You know, the minute I saw that poem, I said, that's part of the new game. I recognize that right off the bat.
Yeah, go buy this if you like Balloon Fight. You got the mini challenges in this game.
Yeah.
And also, I checked to make sure it is on the Nintendo Switch if you have the Switch Online. It's on there. And it's also, if you have the NES Classic Mini, it's also on there. So, lots of ways to play.
Excellent.
You know, speaking of that challenge, you know, in that championship, NES championship thing, You guys gotta start. We're gonna start posting our how many pins you got. To me, that's kind of a challenge, just filling out that pin thing. And I did pretty good. You know, they run those events, those tournaments, like a week or two, and but I noticed that overall my scores were horrible. But then they have them based on how old you were when that game came out, and they break it down into your age groups. I did pretty good in those because there aren't that many people. Honestly, it's probably because I think there was 8 people in my age group that played that one particular game, and I came out 4. So I thought I'm in the top 4. Of course, I didn't say it 8. You know.
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm liking it more. I'm liking it a lot more and more. And my only gripe about it is I looked. It says somewhere on there. It says play online with your friends. That ain't happening.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. Yeah.
Oh, and being that that's on the Nintendo Switch Online, you could play a 2-player game of Balloon Fight. Both have Nintendo Switch Online. We should do that. That would be fun.
Yeah. I know. I had not seen that game until I got that cartridge. That game for the Switch.
Yeah, I was interested when I was a kid, but there were always so many other great-looking games coming out. So it's like, maybe I'll get Balloon Fight. No, I'm going to get this game. I got to get that game. So I didn't ever have it in my collection back then. I do remember playing the Versus version of it at the arcade once or twice back then. And I'm pretty sure I have it on my iArcade now. Somebody was doing all of the Versus and the Play Choice 10 ones for a while there at PAX R Us.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've never
Very
played
cool.
Balloon Fight. I'll be playing tomorrow though.
Well, yeah, you're a Joust fan, so I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have Joust. Oh, you can't see it. I have Joust right here. Mike got all my cups blocking it. Joust is right here. Mike got me started with the Robotron. Now I got Donkey Kong, Joust, Time Pilot, and Rampage.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I was always wondering what I was going to put on the side of that cabinet, and then Mike sent that Robotron to me, and I was like, "Oh man, I could put stuff on there."
I think you should have just painted on the side, "Lick my ball."
Yeah, that was the other option. It was one of the two. It was a toss-up. But yeah. Do we want to, since we were talking about the new tournament, it's Balloon Fight, I guess we should talk about last week's.
Yeah, who won? And it wasn't me, right?
Yeah, it was for a while until you got snaked at the last minute. Andy Author 2007, I think that was his name. He had a lot of trouble all week. In his defense, he was trying all week to get onto the Discord, and Derek had to help him out. He posted He posted on one of my videos, "Hey, how can I get this to you?" I think he posted on yours too, Bo. And how can I get you this thing? And he finally got onto the Discord and got it sent. And I didn't even see it. I was already at work when I saw it. I was like, "Oh shoot, someone else did play." So I got it updated. And so he came out with a big, and he said he normally gets in 70,000 range. So.
I don't feel so bad then, since we just started playing it this week. So I'll get you eventually. I'll get you.
Right. But Poe, you had a very respectable 45,740.
I had a lot of fun with that, figuring out the it's not too hard to figure out the combinations after you played a few times. But
yeah,
if you grab one item, the one that matches it will blink. Go get that if you want the combo score.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I didn't even pay attention to that far because I got killed too quick. I had one good game, and that's the one that ended up me being like 7th place or whatever. Everything else I scored was lower than your score on there, Mike. I had literally that one good game. Everything else I sucked balls at. But
now, Andy, if you're watching now, you don't just play a game that you know you're good at. Come back in for another game that you might suck at. That's where the fun is.
Right.
I'm just a sore loser. I'm a sore loser. That's why I said
Didn't
Right.
didn't Retro Bliss play this on his live stream during one of the daily live streams he does? I think
Yeah, he did. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, he agrees
Yeah,
me out.
He posted that. Did that score during his live stream, and while he was saying his, all right, this is going to end the stream, I already had the spreadsheet updated and posted on Discord. And I was waiting to see if someone's like, "Where'd you get that Bliss score from?" He didn't post a picture yet. It's like, well, go watch his video, because
Yeah.
if you do record a video and post a link in our description, I'll get the scores off of that too. And post it up there, or if you do it live and I happen to see it, because I usually see post video and I'll get his on the spreadsheet too, whether he's posted it in Discord yet or not. So, but yeah, take a picture, shoot a video. We like videos. So, but yeah, I don't know. Did you want? I think everyone saw. Andy came 58.5. Poe had 45. Decon with 34. Bill had 26. Greg, you had 21.8. That's a good score there. I had 19.4. Derek with 9.9. Mike had 6.5. And T-Dog, I think he did that on purpose just to be funny.
I gotta ask Mike, though, is your game cheating not working? I mean, that's
What? No.
Did you see that one day when I posted my second score on there? I didn't even know that, wow, it was DK. I didn't know that he played. So I went on to play, and I'm like, yeah, here's my new score. I go to post it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I think he had, 10 more points than me or something like
10
that?
points. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny when I did Rad Racer. So I did a video on that. I even showed people like, look, there's no Game Genie codes entered in my system. And I started that game up and stuff. So,
Right. Yeah.
but Mappy, yeah, it was hard for me. So I played a few games on it and I stopped.
I played the first ones I played on it. I was horrible, and again, I've admitted, if you guys call foul on it, so be it. But if I find a game that I suck at on these challenges, I just type it into a YouTube search, and there's some guys on there on some of these that'll tell you, hey, you do this, and this is the rhythm to it. Get like you said, Poe. I think it's you figure out if you get this one first and that one. I forget all of them, but there was a bunch of different little things that you could find out. I also found out that you can't just jump on one of those trampolines forever. You'll eventually just die.
Yeah, once it turns red, that's it. You're done. It's going to break.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll fall through.
But I'm playing all of those on the ROG Alley. I'm playing them all on that handheld device. That's why I look forward to the new ones, because you guys will notice usually tonight later on, Cheryl will go to bed first, and I'll get that ROG out, and I'll post my first score usually tonight. And just while I got the floor, I'm going to say real quick, I did send, while Poe's video was going, I did send the information to Decon52 and Classic Rocking on Discord. So if you guys are watching this, if you know them, I don't know, I'm going to get with Derek and see if there's a way I can check to see if they read that message, because I want to make sure these guys get the word. So, Derek, maybe if you can help
get
me.
a notification if you send them a direct message.
Yeah, well, if they reply, but do I get a notification that they read it?
No, you won't get a notification, but they should get a notification that you sent it. So it's not like they just have to stumble across it. They should get a notification on their phone or whatever. But yeah, I was the exact opposite with Mappy though, Greg. That 19,000 or whatever, that was the first game I ever played, and I never got even close to it. And I'd start to think I figured something out, and I'd go play it again, and I would get 4,000. And I'm like, what the? And then I don't know how many times I rage quitted. I'd play, and of course it's 172 degrees out here in the trailer. I fire up the thing, and I go and I die with 300 points. I'm like, and I shut it back off and go back in the house. Kelly says, well, that was fast. I'm like, yeah, we don't even need to discuss this.
I even suggested to him, like, well, you can buy that on Arcade Archives and play it on your Switch. That way you can be in the house instead of going out there all the time. And you're like, I'm not buying that game.
Yeah, I think you said that like right after I came back in, and I was like, still like, rah, son of a, yeah. But yeah,
But this week's
Like
game, you
that.
said we can play on the Switch, right? On the online thing, NES. This week's game we can the balloon one. Okay, that's cool.
Balloon Fight is on the Switch. Yeah, so maybe we can get Kelly to play this time since she plays one of our challenges per year, and I think it's due. Yeah.
And that's one you guys might have fun playing together, too. Two-player version of it. Like I said, that two-player version, you can play it online, so we'll have to.
I don't know.
try
I
that.
got her to play Joust with me one time, and she was like, I hate this game. And, and maybe I didn't help things because I said, I'm pretty sure it hates you too, based on the way the game is treating you.
Well, if you guys later on one day this weekend or during the week, fire up those ham radios and we'll give each other a shout and we'll see if we can maybe get a multiplayer game going.
There you go. There you go. Discord is the new ham radio.
Breaker.
Right. Breaker for the bandit. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm winding down. We can either go into final thoughts or I'm going to say good evening. Because I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I'm
I'm about cooked too. I'm on my normal Sunday. We've been up, and I actually woke up at 3 today, and there was no going back to sleep. So it's been a long day. I'm ready. I'm ready to get in it. And not that you guys don't get a vote, Mike and Poe, but if both me and Greg leave, the show's over. One of us has to be here for StreamYard work. It's like, not that we are the anchors of the show, and the show can't continue without us. It literally can't go without one of us.
Right.
So
Sorry, that's just the rules. I can't take the rules. But, we need to thank you for showing up to the show and turning it into a great show. This is a better one that we've had. Some of them really suck. This one sucked just a little bit. Some of them.
No, Ballistic wants to see your Batman shirt, Poe.
Oh, this is the Batman television series. They're surfing.
Batman 66.
Batman 66. Nice.
I don't know, a couple years, 3 years ago.
Is there a Batman 69 shirt? Oh, just curious. I want to get that.
That was one of the hilarious episodes where they had a little surf contest between the
I know when
Joker
he started doing this. What's he doing? Is he playing with his boobies? I don't know what's he doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that is a cool shirt, though. That show was classic.
I love the pinball machine. My favorite pinball. I wish I could afford one. They want a fortune for those things. Batman 66.
Do you have the VPX version?
Yes.
They have it for VPX.
Yeah. But I want the real machine. I want to feel the balls rolling. I want to slap a real ball.
Joker boobies.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Joker, by the way. I love that series. But then Nicholson came out, and I remember right when that movie was coming out, one of the stations here was playing all of these to get everybody ready for the new Batman movie. So I remember just sitting and watching these for hours on the marathon they had, and then going to see the Nicholson Keaton movie with my buddy.
Boom, zap, pow. I love it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Greg. You talk about feeling the ball rolling around and stuff like that. That's one thing. If you watch Ed's video on the Mike's loud. If you watch Ed's video on that 4K Legends, they have those speakers mounted underneath along the sides and stuff. There's like five or I think there's 5. One in the center, one in each corner. And he said when the ball is rolling, it makes the table shake. You can feel it in your hands, and he said it feels very accurate, like the ball is rolling around on the table. So I was like, I started thinking about it for a second there, and then I went and looked again, and they're $1,500, and I'm like,
right. I was watching that video too, and I told him that looks amazing. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
I gotta go watch this video. I guess I had, like I said, this week just hadn't gone well. So, but anyway, yeah, I'll share something with you after the show. But anyway, you want to start with Mike? You want to start with Mike? Give final thoughts. I'll let Mike go first.
Oh, sure. Final thoughts. So yeah, I've been working on my new video, so it's the 500. Also, it'll be I'm going to be doing something for a particular viewer, so hopefully they show up when I do that video.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, an OnlyFans guy. Well, that's gonna be funny because I'm gonna be talking about that, something like that. Not an OnlyFans page. I won't have that kind of stuff, but yeah, something along the lines of that. But and also my new videos, I'm gonna do a retro. So I just gotta see if I can kind of get along because I've been practicing with the game and I keep dying, and I'm like, that's not gonna be a good YouTube video. So I gotta see if I can get further on it. And it is based off an old 80s TV show, but it was also from I think the 60s. But it has some connection to that. And once you hear the tune of it, everybody's going to recognize, oh, I know what that's about. So, yeah. And then also, I'll be doing a PlayStation 2 game, but I think I'm going to be working that after. So it just depends if I can beat the PlayStation 2 game faster than the other one, because the NES game is giving me a lot of trouble. But if I can beat that sooner than later, then that's going to be out. So it just depends which video I can do for after the 500. So that's all I've got going on. So trying to get that out because I know it seems like it's been a month since I released another video. So yeah. Well, I've been sick. I've been really sick, so I couldn't really work on that video, and I just didn't feel like it after I'm kind of recovering. So
Are you having? I just want to ask this. I want to get this wrapped up, but are you having the same thing? You and I had the same thing, and I've got these lingering effects. I mean, I'm negative. I'm testing negative. My gosh, I can't get rid of this cough and this crappy feeling. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you just had an orb in front of you.
You got the works. No wonder.
It's just that that spirit's sitting on your face. He's having the time of his death.
That's coming from somewhere. That's Bart's doing.
Bart's doing that.
I'm trying. Oh, there. Did that fix? Oh, that made it worse.
That's there. They put a sensor mark right on your face.
That's nice. That is nice.
Okay, it's your turn, Bart. We're gonna go around the world.
All
What do you got?
Yes.
I'm trying to get rid of
Mike,
this.
during your talk, I had to open the door and stick my head out. The dogs were going nuts, and a lot of times that means there's a rattlesnake in the yard. They're looking. They're barking at the bushes. I don't know what they're idiots. They're just barking through the fence.
They probably saw my orb.
Yeah, the orb.
I'm trying to get the orb on Poe.
My final thought thing is Kelly and I are going out of town. We're going to be out of town. So next week, when we announce the winner and all that, next Sunday night, the big winner of the contest, I will be remote on my Poe's got an orb going. I'll be on the show from my phone because I will not be home next Sunday. And,
so you're going to be on a Bart's on a vacation far away.
That's right. That's right. We are going on a vacation far away. And the only thing I'll tease that I might do, it all depends. We got a lot of family commitments that we have to do while we're out. And that's the reason for the traveling. But we're going to try to sneak in, maybe go to an arcade or something. And maybe I'll try to do something from the arcade while we're out there. I don't know if I'm going to, hungry hippo it and run around. But I think I'm going to maybe try to shoot something from the arcade if we can find time to get to an arcade. But other than that, yeah, my channel is going to be pretty quiet because I'm going to be gone for like 8 days. So that's all. That's all I got. Are you sending this to your doctor, Greg? Is this your monthly checkup? Yeah. Oh, Bounce, bounce, bounce. He saw this. That's his promo for his OnlyFans.
I was trying to get rid of the orb. I don't know where the hell it
That's all I got.
That's that little camera you talked me into buying at Wally World, man. I think wasn't it 1995?
Something like that, yeah.
Perfectly on your face.
I went to Walmart the other day and they dropped. They must have been watching our channel advertising for them because they bumped it up to $30. That orb is following me around. What the hell? I know what it is. That's chaos. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead. Whatever your name is, Poe. Yeah, your name. The guy right there.
I'll probably be putting this video up. Maybe I'll just be cheap and use the same video you showed here and add a beginning and end to it and throw it on my channel this week. Or maybe I'll play the game all over again for the channel. We'll see. Aside from that, I don't really know what I want to do or make for the channel this week. Tomorrow I got physical therapy again. And the guy just keeps adding more exercises to me and it just ain't right. But,
at least you got physical therapy. I'm having to go to that mental therapy, and it's driving me nuts. Do you hate your mother? You hate your father?
And yep, today is my father's birthday. Since you mentioned fathers, I don't hate my father. Now maybe when I was a teenager I did a little bit. Hated the belt anyway, but I deserved every minute of it. But yeah, he turned 77 today, and so.
Oh.
I called him and told him happy birthday. And then that phone call I had earlier that I had to go see him, came up their phone number. And I'm like, oh no, what's going on? Something bad happening. But no, my dad just called, asked me what my boy's phone number was because they won't answer if they see a telephone call coming in and they don't know the number. They're like, we had this call. Is this his number? I'm like, yes, he was calling you. Yeah, I said, give him a call back. Yeah.
Oh, what great grandparents. That's the grandson. Don't answer it.
Don't answer it, little bastard.
Look at that thing. That thing is staying right in the middle. Look.
That ghost loves you.
Well, at least if I got up and moved the camera right now, you wouldn't be able to see it.
Looks like a special effect to blur it out.
Go ahead, Bo. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Oh, yeah, well, I think that's about it. I don't know what I want to play. Check out that Horizon game, though, if you can, on Main, though. That's a really fun game.
Yeah, and check out Poe's channel and watch his video on it if you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
All we need now is Demi Moore, Patrick Swayze, and a pottery wheel.
You need to check out Post because Poe got a real good show, huh? Yeah, she does. Yeah. Oh,
Damn right.
Damn Skippy.
Well, I don't have anything. I just say, love you guys. I am going to watch to see who finishes out in this tournament. Good luck to Dekong 52 and Classic Rock King. I don't believe either one of those, I have to look through my list, have won one of our trophies yet, have they?
No, they haven't won a trophy yet. So
getting some new blood in here. Yeah, so just want to let you know, once I find out who the winner is, I got a place that I order the trophies from right up the street. The only problem is they source that out somewhere. And last time I remember, I said, how soon can I get this? We'll get it as soon as we, yeah, okay, whatever. So it will come. Everybody that's won has always got one. So I think that's all I've got. Say goodnight, Bart.
Good night.
Let me bring up our exit and let me see. And if you're ready, Bart, I'm going to start this.
I'm already ready already.